Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the True Crime Corner with THABEÉ. My name is THABEÉ and I talk about true crime. Well, today we're going to be talking about Angela Simpson. And I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, snitches get stitches. Well, this lady took it to a whole nother level. Like she truly believes that snitches get stitches. So the story begins in on the 2nd of August 2009 in Phoenix, Arizona. A local church called the fire department because there was a trash can on fire or dustbin on fire in the parking lot. So they were not sure who started this fire and if it might cause any more damage. So they called the fire department. So as the fire department was trying to set this fire down and get this fire down, they noticed that inside this trash can there was a burnt body. There was a body, and it was just not an ordinary body. This body had been partially dismembered. And when like the body burned to such a severe point that it was impossible to identify this person. All that they could just see by the figure and probably genitalia is that or the figure of the body, that it was a man's body. So it was so the fire department and the church had to call in the police because this was now a homicide, and they needed to get the police to come and investigate what was happening. So when the police arrived, they tried to get an autopsy, but the victim's body was burnt so badly and his teeth were taken out, so they couldn't do a dental identification thingamabob that they always do. So usually if they can't identify you by your teeth, it's usually your fingertips, right? Your fingerprints. But his fingers were burnt so much that it burned like majority of his fingerprints, but they could get like little bits and pieces from the burnt parts. So they identified this man as Terry Neely. He was 46 years old. So the police didn't know much about Terry Neely, and they didn't have much information to go off. So obviously the community was shocked. They were all scared of like what was happening. So the church took out a statement saying that if anybody needs support or a place for comfort and healing too, so that they can work through all these things that they've seen and that they've heard and the trauma, they can come to the church. But this case still needed to be solved, correct? So now they go around asking about Terry Neely and who he was, the type of person he was. And it was said that from the sources that I've got, they described him as slow, but that's not a nice word to use. So he was mentally disabled, and because of his disabilities, he stayed at a care home. So he didn't have any family or close family members, and he was described as a nice guy. Like, he minded his own business. He didn't cause any trouble at the home. So also at his care home, his friends were like, no, they were there. They had alibis, so it couldn't have been any of the care home friends. So what the police did find out was that Terry Neely used a wheelchair. He used a wheelchair most of the time. He could walk, but it was probably because it was too painful to walk, or some reason, but he did have a wheelchair. But then at the crime scene, there wasn't any wheelchair around in the parking lot. So they had to go around searching for this person's wheelchair because this could probably be a solid lead for the case. But they couldn't find the wheelchair. So this case was stuck for a while, for a few hours actually. So the next day, the police had made an arrest with a completely unrelated case for armed robbery. They arrested Cracker and Angela Simpson. Cracker's obviously not his real name. His real name is Edward McCaffrey. McCaffrey. You guys know how I always struggle with surnames. I'm sorry. So Cracker and Angela committed an armed robbery. So the local police went around asking about Angela and Cracker with relates to the armed robbery case. And a lot of the locals mentioned that Angela actually knew Terry Neely, and it might be related. Just ask they might be friends. So so the police were very interested in this because they did not have a lead with Terry Neely's case, and the friends that they did know of Terry Neely's all had alibis, and it would be of great help if Angela could help out with the case in any way that she could. So the police went to go question Angela, just to go ask her a few questions regarding Terry Neely. And Angela straight up told the police, like, she did not beat around the bush or anything. She's like, oh yeah, I know Terry. We were friends, and just recently I decided that I have to kill him. Do you know how much Do you know how much guts you must have? I almost said something wrong. I almost said balls. You know how much guts you must have to just confess that you just killed someone? Um, so, I mean, this case was solved pretty easily, I suppose, because they just got a confession. And yeah, she said that they were friends, but until recently, she decided that she needed to kill Terry Neely because he was a snitch, and she did not like snitches. She did not want to deal with snitches. And snitches and pedophiles are two of the worst type of people. And if you ever get the opportunity to kill one of them, please do so, because you'd be doing this world a great favor. Yes, she was not okay all the way. So I don't know what I'm doing with my eyes, guys. This is just one of those free flow things that I'm doing. Just trust the process, I suppose. So, she said that until recently, she decided that Terry Neely had to die because he was a snitch. He just went around snitching. He just went around bragging, saying he just went around bragging and saying that he had put a lot of people in jail, a lot of big shots in jail, and they were in jail because of him. And a lot of people said that Terry Neely did this because he wanted to impress Angela, but Angela did not find this impressing at all. Actually, her opinion of him changed completely, and she started to hate him. But okay, I forgot to mention this. So Angela was a prostitute as well, and Terry Neely Terry Neely used her services sometimes. Let me put it like that. Terry Neely used her services sometimes, so she would still go to him because she needed the money, but she was totally done. She was totally done with Terry Neely. So she said, okay, I'm gonna take this into my own hands because yeah, no, he does not deserve to live. So as you can see, Terry Neely and Angela did not have a very tight friendship. They were just acquaintances. The only few things that they had in common was that they both went to prison, they both were involved in criminal activities, they both did drugs, and that is it. So like it seems like Terry Neely had that dangerous life, like criminal life, but he left it and he changed his life. But Angela was still partaking in that criminal activities because she just got arrested for um robbery. So the girl straight up said that yes, I did kill him. Um that is it. So like let's see why she did it. I'm sure you guys are wondering like why she did it and why is she so eager to tell the police that yes she did it, and why is she so passionate about it. She says that um she just didn't like it. She just didn't like that Terry kept on bragging that he put a lot of people in prison and whatnot, and she wanted to take the law into her own hands, the street law, and kill Terry Neely, and make him pay for what he did. So she said that she lured Terry from his care home to her apartment in promises of sex and drugs. And Terry is obviously not going to refuse that offer, free sex and drugs, because it's two things that he obviously likes, because he did drugs by himself or with her. So, he was happy either way. So that is when Terry Neely left the care home on the 2nd of August, and his body was discovered 3 days later. So what happened between these 3 days? Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. Before Angela told the police what she actually did to Terry Neely, the police were quite suspicious of her confession because someone is not just gonna tell the police that she killed someone. So they did a little background check on her and her life, and it turns out that she had a lot going on in her life. She had a lot of mental health issues. I'm not sure which ones, but she did have a lot of them. And from the ages of 10 upwards, she was in and out of mental health facilities. So the police also checked her criminal records. She was in there for uh, lots of different things. She was in and out of prison for a lot of different things: aggravated assault, armed robbery, violence. But was she capable of murder? So one of the police officers that went to go pick her up at her apartment, remember, I'm not sure if it's actually her apartment, remember that outside there was a patch of green grass, and that there was a wheelchair there. So they went back to her apartment and to go check if that wheelchair is still there, and it definitely was. And they checked it out, and it was actually Terry Neely's wheelchair. So her story checked out. So back to how she lured Terry Neely to the apartment. So as they got to the apartment where she promised Terry Neely sex and drugs, like she went in with Terry Neely, and before anything else, where she got into the apartment, she made it very clear to Terry Neely that we're definitely not friends, mate. We're definitely not friends, and I'm gonna deal with you the way I wanted to deal with you because you shady, you's a snitch, and that's not how things work. So she had a bar iron, a tire iron, or like steel that she already placed in the apartment prior to them coming there. And she just started beating on Terry Neely, beating him, not to a point where he's unconscious because she still wanted him conscious. And in front of Terry Neely, she placed a long mirror in front of him so that while she's torturing Terry, Terry Neely could look at himself and see what she's doing. Not only feel the pain, but also see the pain. So throughout these 3 days, Miss Mama's just tortured the poor guy. Oh, what am I looking at this here? She tortured him, stabbed him approximately like 50 times around his body. This is the craziest part, you know. She took a nail and beat it into Terry Neely's head, in the middle of his head. It did not kill him. None of these things killed him. None of the 50 stab wounds killed him. The nail in his head did not kill him. She also cut his throat, but not to a point where it would kill him. So she found this torturing fun she found it very fun. But it got to a point where it wasn't cute anymore, because obviously she didn't allow Terry Neely to eat or go to the toilet, so he was just messing on himself. So it wasn't fun anymore for her. And so she took wire and choked him and strangled him to death. So that is how he died. She tried to dismember him. I'm sure she tried to dismember him completely, but she probably found that it's a bit difficult to do so. So she only did her legs. She only dismembered the legs. I'm sorry for laughing, because I'm sure in that moment she was so pissed. She was like, oh my god, I wanted to get rid of this body, like chop him up everywhere, and now all I can do is chop his legs. So, sorry. Lord knows this is not funny. Lord knows this is not funny. But anyway, so that's what she did. And so she said that she called up a friend and borrowed their car, and she took the body and to the church and set it alight, and she drove away. Basically, that's what she did. So Angela, even if you see the clips that I'm about to play, I'm probably gonna get copyrighted for this, but you guys have to see how weird she is in these interviews. It's like she's excited. She was excited that she got caught, or she's excited that this is what happened to Terry Neely, and she's the one that did it. So, Angela M. Simpson was born on the 29th of November 1975. Not a lot is mentioned about her childhood. That's why I didn't mention it. It's just that she was in and out of mental health institutions until she was able to fend for herself. And even after that, after she left the mental health institutions, she couldn't live a normal life like you and I can. She had to fend for herself, and the only way she could do that was through crime and prostitution. And the third thing that always goes with these two is drugs. So she was either prostituting, doing drugs. She was doing all three and in prison. So the only way she could support her drug usage was committing crime. And when she committed crime, she was in jail. So it was a vicious cycle that she was in. And yeah, it was not looking good, honestly. But it seems like she did not mind. Even through all of these things that were happening in her life, she actually had kids. She had 4 children. Not a lot is mentioned about her children and where they are, but in my opinion, I think that they are in care home. They are in, sorry, not in care home. They are in foster care, or they have been adopted for, because their mother is a drug addict. She's a criminal. She's in and out of prison. So I'm sure that they are in a safe place. And she gets very sensitive when they ask her about her children. A lot of people are very confused about why she actually did it, because killing someone because they're a snitch is a bit extreme, if you ask me. And Yeah, a lot of people don't think that she killed Terry Neely because of that. It's either she wanted to become very well known for killing someone, um, and wanted to make money off of it, or she just wanted to kill like for money. I don't know, because it's just weird. Why didn't she kill? I'm sure she knew other snitches in her life. Why didn't she kill the other snitches? Why Terry Neely? You know. So a lot of sources, conspiracy theories say that she killed Terry Neely so that she can gain. Okay, Bessie. So I had to go off camera and put on my lashes because click on these things is not a joke, fam. Like, I don't know. Lord knows I'm not a professional at makeup, but like your lashes lashes is a lot of work. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna play two interview clips of Angela Simpson um while she was interviewed at jail, and you tell me what you think. You tell me why she did what she did. And some people say that it was just for attention so that media houses can get her coverage and write books, movies, just like with Jeffrey Dahmer, you know and based off of those royalties that she would get, she would send them to her kids, perhaps. I don't know. But how much would those royalties be,
Needle and pliers. Kind of went, So it was your pleasure when you committed this murder? See, that's kind of up. I was thinking, I don't know what my lawyer would say if I answered that straight out. Hold on, yes. Yes, it was. But, yeah. It's pretty rewarding work. It's great. So, he thought it was funny that the people... Do you have any guilt about any of that stuff? Guilt, yes. I'm overrun with remorse. You're kidding, right? You can't put murderers in a category with up people. That doesn't make any sense. You murdered this man? Yes. You tortured him? Of course. I took him to my house, walked him down the street. I don't know why the media acts like the motherfucker couldn't walk. He walked very well. Walked him upstairs, kicked his ass, and killed him. I have 4 children. By deceptively luring him to apartment 201, sitting him down and beating him with various objects until he was unconscious, and then I slit his throat. Went back up, cut his legs off. He told on a righteous person years ago, and he told me that. He was there for 3 days, right? Yes. What did you do during that time? Well, I killed him and cut him up. Did you pull out his teeth? Did you put a hammer into his head, put a nail in his brain? Yes. Was he alive during this? Some of it. Was he watching, looking at a mirror? Yes. Why'd you do that? Because I wanted him to see what he deserved. Angela, is this the first time you've done this?
So yeah, after watching these few clips, just tell me what you guys think. And yeah, well, that is about it. Please leave your opinion in the comment section below based off the video clips that I posted in the video, and let me know what you guys think. What was actually her motive for killing Terry Neely? Was it for money, for exposure, for just because she notoriety, just to know that, okay, for people to know that she's a serial killer or a killer? Which one? I think it was just for attention. Well, that's just my opinion. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. Well, it's not an episode. To this video. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you're into true crime, please leave a comment of any video suggestions that you'd like me to go through. And yeah, thank you. Come join the True Crime Corner. Come. Love and blessings from me to you. Peace.